In Webb's words, this is all very weird indeed. Currently, our standard model of cosmology is based on an isotropic universe, meaning one which is the same in all directions. The new research could potentially throw that way of thinking out the window, and along with it, Einstein's theory of gravity.
For years now, bees have been dying at record rates, impacted by disease and pesticides. The agricultural industry has already been fighting a battle to keep healthy colonies alive. Now there's a new threat. According to the Department of Agriculture, 1 in every 3 mouthfuls of food is in some way a product of bee pollination.
Now, just before we go, a breathtaking full flower moon has made a stunning appearance over Europe's largest city, Istanbul in Turkey. Look at this, absolutely wonderful. The last supermoon of 2020.
Rose above the clouds over the Greek island of Santorini yesterday. The moon's glow turned the volcanic islands sea silver. You can see from this video, it looks kind of silver to me. Social distancing measures meant no tourists saw the sight. Supermoons happen when a full moon's orbit places it closer to the Earth and makes the moon look larger.
The next one, scheduled for April next year, a supermoon occurs when the moon's orbit is closest to Earth, making it appear larger than life. Look at that shot there. Absolutely fantastic over the Blue Mosque.
So as stay-at-home orders linger a little longer, residents in Southern California have escaped the monotonous routine to catch a show from Mother Nature. Phenomenal and glowing with bioluminescence. By day, the water at Southern California beaches looks murky with a reddish hue. By night, it lights up neon blue.
We told you how the red tide is causing a captivating bioluminescence show along our coastline, and the Sea Lion created a show as well, playing in the glowing ocean. Eco Boat Reynolds said they spotted this little guy while pedaling on kayaks near Shelter Island.
That is so beautiful. Look at nature.
So neat.
By nighttime, though, the algae gives off a stunning blue show when agitated by waves, boats, or even dolphins.
To the extent that we see it so pervasively along the coast here, and it really requires kind of some shear, some kind of turbulence in the water to get that chemical reaction stimulated.
Around the world, marine life has flourished as humans stay out of the water, but Clarissa Anderson with the Southern California Coastal Ocean Observing System doesn't think it has an impact on bioluminescence.
There's really a lot of connection with this bloom into what's happening with the oceanography in the water in the area.
During the day, you can see a reddish tide all the way from Baja California to the South Bay in Los Angeles. But at night, these same organisms are lighting up the ocean, causing waves to have a luminescent blue light. This picturesque magnetic blue charging through the waters of Southern California like a bolt of electricity. It's created through microscopic single-celled organisms called dinoflagellates.
How about this? A local photographer captures stunning video of a natural phenomenon off Hermosa Beach. 2 surfers riding glowing bioluminescent waves while being towed by a boat. Beau Bridges, that's his name, captured these amazing images. The surfers describe it as a once-in-a-lifetime experience. One says she felt like she had superpowers when she touched the electric blue water. The magical effect is created by an algae bloom of phytoplankton in the ocean. When they're disturbed, they light up, hence the glow.
That looks like a scene from a movie with CGI effects, doesn't it?
Sure does.
That's amazing.
Researchers out of the Scripps Institute at UC San Diego say while scientists have been studying these events for some 120 years, the one happening right now is significant.
There's been at least a couple of dozen major events, and this one is pretty spectacular. It extends from Baja California all the way up into the Los Angeles region.
And this red tide in Southern California is not the toxic type found in other parts of the world.
The light is thought to scare off predators. The result is a gorgeous, glowing ocean.
That rust color is really kind of amazing, right? I mean, it's not like anything I'd ever seen.
Back now with what's called murder hornets, reported in the U.S. for the first time.
They've been described as hornets from hell, and with good reason.
Beekeeper Ted McFall says he went to check on a hive one morning in November and found an entire colony destroyed. 60,000 honeybees torn apart in a savage attack. About a month later, the alleged attacker was revealed. This Asian giant hornet found in Blaine, Washington, just a couple miles from McFall's property.
And all it takes is a couple dozen of the Asian giant hornets to show up and start lopping off heads.
Dubbed the murder hornet for its powerful sting and the way it decapitates its prey,
killer hornets invading the U.S. and Canada. Asian giant hornets, also known as murder hornets, spotted in Washington state, and they prey on honeybees that pollinate much of our food.
If the bees go, we go. So they pollinate 1 in 3 pieces of food we eat. So we have to protect these little guys.
These hornets grow up to 2 inches long, roughly 5 times the size of a bee. And in Japan, where they originate, they reportedly kill up to 50 people each year.
In its native Asia, Vespa mandarinia is notorious, seen on programs like Netflix's 72 Dangerous Animals. Washington State entomologist Chris Looney says the clock is ticking.
The goal is to eradicate it now while the population is presumably small.
If he and his colleagues can't wipe out the invaders this summer, they're likely to multiply and spread across the country with potentially disastrous consequences.
They're one of the largest hornets that we have on the planet. And so that's what makes them so unusual and makes them so striking to people. They do not occur here.
The mandibles, there we go, you can sort of see them, are pretty large. They're very, very sharp, and that's what they use to decapitate bees, and then they'll mash up the thorax into a meatball, they call it, and fly it back to feed to their larvae.
North American bees have no idea how to fight an alien predator like this. Bee Lives Matter experts say not just for honey, but the entire food system.
The pollination that honeybees do for our food supply cannot be understated. I mean, there's so many fruits and vegetables that are dependent on honeybees.
In other words, a threat to the bee is a threat to you and me.
Wildlife officials in Arkansas are trying to solve 2 mysteries that are getting a lot of attention this morning. They involve the deaths of thousands of birds and fish.
Finding them dead, dozens in some spots. In fact, one young girl tells us that she watched one just fall from the sky.
Sudden deaths of tens of thousands of fish and birds in what they believe are unrelated events.
Both bizarre incidents happened within days of each other.
A bizarre dead bird mystery may be spreading abroad now. In Sweden yesterday, between 50 and 100 birds were found on the ground. A veterinarian is trying to figure out what killed them. On Monday, about 500 dead birds also fell from the sky in Louisiana. Some may have hit a power line. About 500 miles away in Arkansas last Friday, thousands of blackbirds dropped dead.
It was a situation few who saw it would ever forget. 13 years ago, emergency crews flocked to downtown Austin to deal with a mysterious crisis. So, what caused it?
Early in the morning, just before sunrise, something is wrong in downtown Austin. By daylight, police shut down 10 blocks of Congress Avenue. Only emergency workers are allowed within the barricades. Helicopters search rooftops as workers in hazmat suits scour the streets looking for clues. Odd vehicles with strange equipment rush about. This January morning plays out like a scene from a disaster movie.
Entrance to our building is blocked off.
I work in the Frostbank Tower, and they told us we had to evacuate the building.
Why are we promoting a fear factor here?
The answer? Birds. Dead birds. 60 of them, mostly grackles, that fell from the sky and landed in the middle of one of Austin's busiest streets. Now, looking back, it may seem like much ado about nothing, but at the time, many feared a possible terrorist chemical attack, plus the so-called bird flu epidemic was making people sick in other parts of the world. But after testing the air and performing bird autopsies in the middle of the street, the all clear sounded. It would be several weeks before we found out why the birds had died suddenly. According to avian experts, they were weakened by parasites and fell victims to a sudden temperature drop overnight. The final verdict? Bird deaths due to natural causes.
By the way, if you're thinking that it seems like our lives have been turned upside down, you should take a look at what's happening in the world of science. There's a new study out there that has researchers investigating if the universe had a north and a south, potentially upending everything that we thought that we knew about the cosmos.
The study of a quasar that's 13 billion light years away could potentially change the way we look at the universe. Published in Science Advances, researchers report that 4 new measurements of light emitted from the quasar reaffirm past analyses that dispute our standard model of cosmology. Evidence was gathered from the ELT, or Extremely Large Telescope, in Chile, and the information is being examined at the University of New South Wales in Australia. The findings have scientists questioning a perfect balance between fundamental forces, throwing a monkey wrench into the work of those trying to prove the theory of everything, which could explain every aspect of physics. The standard belief is that electromagnetism is one of 4 fundamental forces that knit everything together in the universe, alongside gravity, weak nuclear force, and strong nuclear force. This model is built upon Einstein's theory of gravity, which explicitly assumes constancy of the laws of nature. However, the new evidence suggests that a fundamental physical constant used to measure electromagnetism between charged particles may not be constant at all. Tiny variations could have massive implications on how we view the universe around us. The data also shows that the universe may have had a north and south, signaling that there may be directionality in the universe, which in turn means that the laws of physics could change as you travel through the universe. According to astrophysicist John Webb from Australia's University of New South Wales, putting all the data together, electromagnetism seems to gradually increase the further we look, while towards the opposite direction, it gradually decreases. In Webb's words, this is all very weird indeed. If these findings are confirmed, they could help play an important part in explaining the universe itself and life's place in the bigger scheme of things.